Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, so in this live stream we're going to be adding the Ragdoll to this project right here. I think we don't really need to wait until we completely fix all the bugs or improve all the things that we have to improve now. I think we can just go ahead and implement the Ragdoll functionality. We just gotta know how to handle when exactly we can play the Ragdoll, the physics, the animations, and everything. But firstly, I'm gonna fix the bug that as soon as you're picking up the rifle, if you holster the bow in this case, as you can see, the HUD disappears. As soon as you pick up the bow, the HUD appears. But if you drop the bow, as you can see, it doesn't disappear. So I'm gonna be fixing that right now. So this is the fix HUD not disappearing. I have a list of things to do in here, as you can see. So let's go for it. Let me get to the drop holster logic. I think there's a function called remove. Hello, great brothers. What's up? So when you holster, that happens. But then if you drop the weapon, nothing happens. So what's basically happening here, as we remove the reference from the array, the is valid is going to be executed, but the for each loop is not going to execute anything because we don't have anything to check, right? So the for each loop basically checks for the items in the array. As we don't have any items, it's not going to work. It's not even going to execute anything. As you can see, the for each loop is not going through, passing through, and going to the is valid, because there's nothing in the array. There is no item reference. There is no weapon reference in there. So I think to fix this, the best way would be, well, if the reference is valid, we can check for the length, which basically tells how many items it is, how many items are stored in that array. So if it's equal to or less than 0, I do less because like maybe sometimes the array gets to be -1, who knows. So let's say if it's equal to 0, or if it's less, maybe it happens, then we're not going to execute anything. We're only going to execute if, actually we can do something better. If it's more than 1 or equal, then we can execute the for each loop. If it's not, then we're going to hide everything, hide all the HUD. So that when you drop the weapon, and if the character has no weapon in his hands, we're going to execute this to set everything off. So I'm going to add a custom event and unplug all this, because I think it's going to be better to handle. So I'm going to maybe disable or maybe hide HUD Visibility event. Let me just read the comments here. Mlock said, "Hello, I have a questions about metahuman characters. Can I install external animations on them, because they do not work with the new 5.6 update? They worked before that." Yeah, I'm not sure about the new version, because I haven't used the newest version yet. And I do not recommend people to use the newest version, because I mean, it depends very much on your needs. But for me, for example, I do not recommend it unless you want to use the new features. And the new 5.6 version, it causes bugs, causes crashes, maybe unexpected crashes when you're doing the Ragdoll, when you're using the physical animation component, which we're going to be talking about later. But I would, especially if you're a beginner, if you don't know which one to choose the 5.5, because it's the most updated and stable version for the systems that I'm implementing. And for following the tutorials, you can use the 5.5, no problem. So I'm going to make the HUD all uppercase. Hide HUD visibility event. Compile. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy the name of the event and then call it here. So here, if it's also not valid, I'm going to call it over here. And if it's false in here, if the character doesn't have any owned weapons, then there's no sense to show the HUD. So I'm just going to hide the HUD. And if it's not valid as well, I'm going to hide the HUD, because it doesn't make sense if the weapon is not valid. If the reference of the weapon is not valid, it doesn't make sense to show the HUD. So I think it's the best. This is the best setup. And if you also want to call it here, as you can see, if it's default, you don't need to show the HUD. Yeah, compile, save. Now let's drop the weapon to see if the HUD is going to disappear. Now pick up the bow. Let's holster. Okay, it's disappearing. Now I'm going to drop the bow. As you can see, now the HUD disappears. It's a very simple fix, but it requires you to understand what you're doing, what you've done, and what you can do to fix, and so that you know how exactly you can fix the bug. These are the other tries that I've tried in order to make the system. So I'm just going to delete all this. I'm going to cast to character ref. Cast your character ref. All right. Event to hide the HUD. Someone said, "Brother, how to make a aim like you? How to make an aim like in the game animation sample?" I have no idea how they made it. The aim in the GASP system is based off actually there's no aim in the GASP system. The only aim that you have in here is just the character looking around. But for the spine, for the when you're aiming with the rifle, you need to use the ALS because it's the most refined one, as you can see. So the aim is based off of a value curve value that is set in the aim animation when the character is aiming. So we create that, we add that curve value called enable spine rotation, add it into the rifle animation, set that value to be 1 to enable the spine rotation. So you can aim left and right. And for aiming up and down, you're going to be using the rifle sweep, this one. So you can use the character can aim up and down, up or down, the vertical axis, and we basically give the value for the frame that the character wants to go. So let's say if the character aims up, then we're going to select the frame 0. If the character aims down, we're going to select the 98. And then this is all dynamically set in the game as you're playing. So it's getting that value from the get AO value. And this get AO value it's a function that it's already built in the GASP system. So out of this, as you can see, if we watch this value, as you can see, changes depending if you're aiming up or down. So we can use that value information. Here we basically transform the values from 90 to 1. So if this value is negative 90, we transform it to 1. Or if the value is 90, we transform it to 0 to match the respective time frame of the animation. Because if you just let it empty like 0, it's just going to aim down, I think. Just get the rifle. As you can see, I'm trying to aim up and down, but the character only aims up. So we need that offset. So let's say if the range in here is 0, then I think it's going to be 0.5 in the out range. So if you watch this value and play. So as you can see, if I aim, if the Y is 0, in the map range out range is 50. If I aim up is 0, if I aim down is 1. So basically what you're doing here is just transforming the values to match the time frame of the animation. Let me just organize this a little bit. Is it easier to do locomotion in ALS or GASP? It depends on what you're trying to do. Like for example, for upper body animation, I think it's definitely GASP because it's more realistic and it's more simpler. Because if you want to change animation, the walk animations or the run animations, I think it's easier to do with GASP because it requires less setup in order to make it work. So let's say if you want to add like run or walk animations from another pack, I think it's easier to do with GASP. Because ALS requires you to do the whole reverse engineering thing in order to make that work. And if you want to add other walk animations or run animations, then it's a lot of work again. But for overlaying upper body animations, I think GASP is the best for now. It's the most updated and newer version. And it's made by Caleb. So Caleb did the ALS and he contributed to the motion matching as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump into, let me just, into doing the Ragdoll system. So fix HUD not disappearing when dropping the weapon is already fixed. So I'm just going to put it over here. I'm going to copy the color. I'm just hex linear, whatever works. Copy paste, boom. Done. Now this is done. This is done. I think this is done. Let's add the Ragdoll for now. Now the Ragdoll is, I think it's going to be a little bit tricky because I don't have the same settings. You need to set up the Ragdoll physics asset in order to work. And I haven't set it up for the UE4 mannequin, only for the UFN. If you click on the, as you can see, this is the project Gas Physics Premium. If you subscribe on Patreon, you're going to get this one. And with blood effects. It's lagging a little bit. It's compiling. Compile. Okay, now there you go. As you can see, you have more refined physics. It's realistic. With blood effects. The blood, it doesn't really attach really good on the character. Sometimes you can see, as you can see right there, the blood moves with the foot of the character. It's a little bit weird, but it's all right. It works good. So the thing that I'm talking about is if you go to the symbolized character, if you go to the physics asset, If you go to simulate, not only the head, let me just simulate the whole body. I'm just going to select everything, simulate. What? Right click. Only simulate the pelvis from below because the root is what holds the character standing still. Simulate selected. There we go. Boom. The physics works really good. I've set it up to not for the legs and the body not to collide. Actually, I made it to collide with the other parts of the body so that it looks realistic. If you don't set it up in the right way, the legs are going to go through each other. Morningstar said, "What are you up to?" I'm up to adding the ragdoll functionality to this character right here. Let me try to just simulate the physics just to see how this is going to work. As we're working with a different character, we're gonna have to set up the physics on a different mannequin. I'm not sure if you can use the same physical asset from the view4 to this character right here. Let me just... I lost the viewport. The view. I cannot view the character. I cannot see the character. Let me just see. Window. Viewport. Yeah, the viewport. There we go. Now click on the character. As you can see, if I try to simulate the physics on this character, I don't know if wow, it comes with the really bad physics, I guess. Let me just check it out. Which physics asset it is using? Okay, it's using its own generated, I guess. Probably generated. So this is probably not going to look good if you simulate the physics. You get the view mode to be lit. As you can see, the angles, the constraints are not set up correctly. So as you can see, you have that jelly pose. But it still looks good, incredibly good. It's just that it's not set up correctly. Let's see, show character, show translucency. Translucent, what? Translucency. As you can see, the character is literally broken when you simulate the physics. But that's what we're going to get for now. Yes. All right. So let's try to... So that when you press F, for example, oh no, F, I think you used to pick up the weapon. Now if you press G, maybe G will work. Will work. So let's do the G keyboard event. And let's select the UE4 mesh. So we set the simulate physics. Now if you just do that, it's not going to work because you have to set up the collision settings. So if you press, let me just see if it's doing anything at all. Okay, it's pressing. Now what we need to do first is set the UE4 mesh to be set collision enabled. So that we enable the collision. Let's see if it now works. As you can see, the character collides with the... As you can see, the ammo pocket is floating. Let me just debug the capsule component. If you go hidden in game, press play, you can see the capsule. So if you press G and simulate the physics, the character gets as the capsule has physics, the character gets launched away. That's superly normal. You have to scale the purple capsule in simulations. I'm just noticing one thing in here. As you can see, the ammo box is not really attached to this sandbox character, not the UFN. So what I'm gonna do is just drag and drop it to the. I cannot do that. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is delete or just cut this, cut everything, compile, save everything, and then I'm just going to go to the UE4 mesh and paste it in and attach it to the UE4 mesh. Now I'm going to attach it to the character. Let me just see where the ammo pocket is. I'll just do something really cool here. Site. No, I think it's ammo pocket 1. Add preview asset and add ammo box. Add ammo box 1 and 2. There we go. Now you can really see how it is going to be placed. The characters, how it is going to be attached. Now I'm going to go back to the sandbox character and finally attach it to the respective sockets. So in the parent socket, I'm going to select ammo pocket 1. It's good to always reset the values. So location, rotation, reset it. Ammo pocket 1, I'm going to do the same thing. But this is for the 201. Let's see, this is for the 2. And this is for the 1. Reset the values. Okay, good. Now it's going to be better. I think now it even looks better. But I think I'm going to delete the other one. I think it doesn't make sense to have that in there. There you go. I think just one is better. It's interesting that they have made this break animation, as you can see when the character stops. They have moved the character's mesh a little bit forward. I'm not sure how they do that. So that gives the effect that the character is really stopping and is going out of the capsule, which makes the movement to look better, the motion. And it's good in the backend for multiplayer. So as you can see, if you stop, the capsule stops completely and the character moves forward a little bit. This is really good. Now this happens. Let me just try to solve this. It's because when you simulate the physics, you set the collision to be enabled. Maybe let's try to just set the collisions first. Let me just see if I can set collision type so that it doesn't interfere with the capsule. So set collision object type to be physics body. Play. Now I think what I'm gonna do this is good when you have like dead bodies on the ground, so the character walks into them, and if the capsule gets in touch with it, then you can drag dead bodies like this. You can walk over them. Basically, you can jump. Now what I'm gonna do is set the capsule. Set. Yeah, I think I have the whole setup in here. I'm not going to do one by one. So I just want to show you guys and test it out to see if it's going to work. So basically what we've done in here on the CBP sandbox character UE4, not the original one, the retargeted blueprint, we can really add a input key for the G. Sorry if there's a noise in the background there. We're doing some reforms. Reforming. So this is just to test it out to see if it's going to work, if the character is going to simulate the physics. If you go to the U for physics asset, as you can see, it's much more better. As you can see, I have the constraints all set up. I'm trying to simulate this. The only thing that you don't have is the root. Is the root, and sometimes you have that flickering effect. This setting here, called on the section of angular motor, the angular drive mode, it makes the head to be a little bit more realistic, humanized. The setting here is the best. If you select twist and swing, and lerp, if twist and swing, this one is the best option, and this is the best setting for realistic ragdoll. The setting really matters a lot. So we have two options. We can reuse the UE4 physics asset and set it up in here, or let me just see how the UE4 asset is set up. I think we're going to either way have to configure both. So you have limited. I think either way we're gonna have to figure out a way to add it. In the originally in the UE4 mannequin physical asset or physics asset, the angular drive mode is already set to twist and swing, which is great. But we don't have those options available, and I'm not sure why. I'm gonna have to enable those, which is really good. But I think the best way to do this, I think, would be to set up the whole physics directly in the character. Let me just count the spines. So we have 1, 2. We have 1, 2. I think it's missing 1. We have 1, 3. So here in the character we have 1, and then we have 3. We don't have 2. And in the sandbox character we have 1, 2. We have all the spines. I think it's missing spines in there. So we're gonna have to add them somehow. So spine 3, it's missing the spine 2. So I'm just going to add shape, I think it's capsule. And just add it there. Just going to hide the bones. 1, 2, 3. So here's 1, here's 2. Yeah, this is a little bit weird. Let me just go to the front. So the spine 1 is just a capsule going vertical, and the spine 2 is horizontal, and the spine 3 is horizontal as well. And then the UE4 physics asset, it's horizontal as well. So we're going to follow the horizontal form. So the spine 5 on the U4, it gets the whole chest. And in here, I think it's a little bit down. So when you're doing those refinements, you have to check in all perspectives. So back, left, front, and right. Always when you're editing the physics asset. Because this part in here, those collision physics, they are the ones that are really going to collide with the objects and make the character's physics to work. Now, as you can see here, when you click on the constraint, I think there are 2 constraints in here. If you click on the constraint in here, it says, "Child, are you competing the Game Jam TK Game Jam 2075?" No, I'm not. I'm not going to compete anything. I just do this for fun. Uh, 5. So this should be spine 2, I believe. Wow. This is going to require a little bit of time to set it up. I'm not going to go through everything, but essentially what's going to happen here, we're going to have to set the pelvis, for example. We're going to have to fit in here. So I'm just going to do it really quick. So spine 1 is going to be right over here. Spine 2, there's not. And spine 3 on my character is right over here. This is the spine 2. So spine 1, spine 2. So just make them to be a little bit away from each other. And there you go. Simulate this. As you can see, the character falls really hard on the ground because there's no constraint set up. And the location of the constraint also matters. So yeah, I think I'm going to do this off stream because this requires a little bit of setup, and I don't really know how to set up physics asset on a brand new character. So I'm going to let this to do later. That's some gore effect. Good. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this mini tutorial. We're just trying to figure out ways to make the ragdoll to work. But first, we're gonna have to have a really good ragdoll physics setup first, because as you can see right here, we need to set up this ragdoll physics exactly the same way that is good already in the UFN character, and that's going to require a little bit of effort to set it up. So once it's set up, maybe we can use also maybe the same. Let me just see if we can use the UFN, the UE4 physical asset. Let me just check it out real quick. Oops, not in here, but in here. Maybe we can use the physical asset of the UE4. As the skeleton is the same, maybe it's gonna work. So I'm going to just use that one. Compile, save. I'm just going to close everything just to key skin, I think. And the first one. And go to the physical asset. Now in here, I think we're gonna have to select the right one. So skin one. Billis, okay. Here, simulate. I'm not sure why you have those turbulences. Maybe it's only when... Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's going to be fixed when we really... Let me just try to simulate the physics. How the character is going to be. It's going to be normal. I think we can use the UE4 mannequin for that, UE4 physical asset. But for doing that, we're gonna have to make a copy of it and name this to be mannequin. Actually, this is going to be the real one. And what's actually assigned currently is the skin. Skin mannequin. There we go. Now we can rename it back to this. And there you go. Now that's going to be it for this stream. In the next tutorial, we're going to be setting up and moving the code from the Ragdoll Premium project